Like so much of the world's oceans and seas, the Caribbean waters have been overfished for years, resulting in a massive decline in fish stocks and the overall health of the reef. The average for those catching and selling the fish has dropped from £2,500 a day to just £700, and there seems to be little chance of a recovery.
A lot of the fish that we see here actually hatch probably 150, 200 miles, 400 kilometers from here. It is these areas that there's a lot of overfishing happening right now. You have a lot of those big boats going out there catching 7,000, 9,000, 12,000 pounds of fish per trip on a 2-week trip. Probably have about 100 boats out there, and they're catching the rowing fish.
The problem of the fish declining is a universal problem. Most places in the world have this problem, with higher population density and also more effective methods of catching fish.
Also, we have the local problem with the grouper. A lot of these local fishermen, they're catching the grouper during the rowing season, and it's difficult to change these people, to try to change these people's mentality, their way of thinking.
Well, I say it's like a fishing problem because people today gotta get what they could catch to make a living.
It's not working good. Things are not looking good with fishing. Very bad.
Before there was electricity, there was no ice, and before there was ice, there was no overfishing because you couldn't save it. Everything you caught had to be sold or used right there, and you couldn't send it inland 200 miles.
According to fishermen, the species that have been hit the hardest are the mutton snappers and the grouper. Environmentalists are calling for better monitoring and protection of the reefs.
Those species that spawn once a year are the most critical. Nassau grouper and those kind of things, and very rare now. So once we identify those spots that if there's still a few going, that means it'll get stronger over the years if they just protect that spawning aggregation. Whale sharks eat the grouper eggs and the grouper larvae in that spawning. So with the grouper going down, the whale sharks may be affected.
Years ago, we have a lot of product, but it didn't worth much money. Today, we have less product, but it's worth more money. So I think it's about the same, you know.
Actually, what we found that's critical to success is giving the responsibility to the fishermen themselves. Everybody has to fish here because they have to eat. A lot of people are not involved in tourism. A lot of people do have to fish. You don't tell people not to fish. What you do is you give them an alternative.
What are we going to do? There's not much here not much jobs around, you know. If there was a place like in a city or something that big, they have a lot of jobs, of course, I won't be diving also. I'd be doing some other work, making money, well, you know, but because diving is a dangerous job. But what I'm going to do, I have to do it, you know.
The problem is big. The problem is huge. And the problem, in order to solve this problem, we'll need the help of central government.
Utila has always been a traditional fishing community and until recently lived side by side with the reef. However, with more mouths to feed and more money to be made, the balance is shifting dangerously. In the last decade, the market for shark fins has grown out of proportion, with estimates ranging from 100 million to 300 million sharks caught each year for this lucrative trade. The shark fin is one of the most expensive things to come out of the sea, and where there is money to be made, people will come.
I put like 2 big rocks on the bottom with some rope, and I put a big buoy, and I put a next small buoy where the hook gonna be. So when the shark grab it, he fight with the buoys and he can't drag the rocks because the big rocks, and so he just kill himself there. When I get there, he already dead. You get like 600 lempiras a pound for the fins. We have to like cut them off the shark and dry them for like 4 days. Then we sell them and we get 600 lempiras a pound. I thought about like a 100-pound shark. You see, like, you got like $150. They export it to different countries. For example, like Vietnam and China, them places up there, no? That you see the sharks are very scarce up there in China and around there.
It's very rare that you see a shark now.
Because there's always someone with a line. If one comes in, they're gone. Or somebody there with a mask, snorkel, and a gun, gone.
They say that they make soup out of it, you know. So I don't know what kind of soup it is, but they say that's what they do with it. They grate it and get like a powder, and they make the soup. It must be good soup to make it be so expensive, you know.
But there is one shark that instead of being hunted, is actually revered by the fishermen. They say he brings the bonita or tuna fish with him when he passes the island, and they have even given him a name, Old Tom.
We have them around here up to 60 feet. I seen them up to 60 feet long.
If you see it a distance off, it looked like a huge log sitting right up on top of the water. The real Old Tom, you know, what we call his cobble knife, that's the top fin. That is ate off. That don't stick up no more out the water like that. That is, it looked like a termite nest that was eaten off.
If you looked at him like far from into the island, like a reef out on top of the water.
Is one that is bad, it gets badder than the other. Is the one with the white spots.
Oh yes, he is different from the other ones. He is the biggest one, and he is the real Old Tom. We call him Utila Tom. I
seen when it got a little dark, you know, and I looked and he was in the air, and he fell, I say, about 20 feet away from me. And the wake from the sea, and that almost sunk my door. The boat took in water. The boat took in water, and then he made a circle around me, and then he left. And he left. It was the most frightening thing I ever had fishing, you know. Yeah.
Yes, I see him some years ago. Yeah, Old Tom. that big whale shark.
You can't catch the whale shark. He's too big. He's too huge, man. You have no line to catch him. You know, you hook him with the line. He just keep going. You can't stop him. So that's why nobody fish him. He's so powerful and strong that you can't kill him. You know, probably if you get him by the dory and probably have a gun or something and shoot him in the head, probably like that. But
big fella he was. He was very large.
I love to see him. When you get on say then you know Bonita's gonna bite.
The reason why the fishermen are so interested in protecting Old Tom is because Old Tom is the life of the fishermen. There's no whale shark, there's no bonitos. When the whale shark go, he take all the bonitos with him. You can see the school of bonitos right here, big school. He's right there in the middle of them. The whole ocean is around him with bonitos. And when you see him go, they disappear. And that's why we try to keep him and protect him. And we don't want people harming Old Tom. And as long as we got Old Tom, then everybody has bonitos for fishing.
We didn't know too much about the whale shark. We knew about the Old Tom. Yeah, we call them here the Old Tom. So the whale shark came up since the tourists been coming around, you know.